Rex and Minifigs is your one-stop shop for all things LEGO. Hit the link below to find a store near you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the LEGO Star Wars set of the year is finally here, the Venator-Class Republic Attack Cruiser. This behemoth comes in at 5,374 pieces and releases on October 1st, 2023 for the retail price of $650 US. Hey everyone, I'm Adam, aka Ant Bandit, and welcome back to a very special Beyond the Brick review because today, we've got the Venator. This thing is absolutely massive. It's a set that myself and pretty much everyone in the LEGO Star Wars community has been excited about for a very long time. And man, does this absolutely deliver on all of the hype. Now I thought we could do this review a little bit differently and just answer the big questions that you probably care about right at the top of the video. Things like, is this a good set? Yes. Is this a good value for my money? Yeah. Will I enjoy the build process? Yes. Oh yeah. Now I recognize I'm biased. I'm a huge fan of the Clone Wars myself and these massive capital ships in general, but I'm excited to go through this video and break down all the reasons why this set is so great. There's a lot to look at here, and there are some flaws and complaints that I have with the final model, but overall, if you're a fan and you're a collector, I cannot recommend this set enough. Before we move on, here's a quick look at the massive box that the Venator comes in. We've got some great angles of the ship on the sides of the box and some images from the Clone Wars on the back. Inside, you'll find two smaller boxes with some really great artwork from Revenge of the Sith printed on both sides of them, a total of 48 numbered bags and 4 massive instruction booklets. The first manual features a ton of info about the ship itself, a foreword from the design team, and an image of how to correctly lift the ship from the middle and not the ends. The set includes a small display stand for the 2 minifigures included and the printed display plaque, which looks really good. That's something that we saw start with the UCS X-Wing earlier this year, and it's great to see that continue. Now let's take a closer look at the 2 exclusive minifigs included in this set because both of them are fantastic. Starting out, we've got a younger Clone Wars era Admiral Yularen. We previously got an Imperial aged up Yularen in a polybag, so it's great to see this younger version from the TV show represented. He has dual molded legs and the first ever Republic officer printed torso, which looks great, and he has 2 expressions. Overall, for me personally, he's not an incredibly exciting character to get, but he still looks really good, and I would love to see this officer torso show up in future sets. Next up, we have Captain Rex in his Phase 2 armor, which is such a great figure to get an updated version of, especially after the previous Phase 2 Rex only appeared in a single set with his value skyrocketing ever since. This new Phase 2 Rex has some beautiful printing all over, including on his arms, his torso, his legs, even his toes have some good looking details, along with some great printing on his new molded helmet piece. This figure comes so close to perfection, but there are 2 major flaws holding it back. First being the fact that LEGO decided to go with a print for his waist cape on his legs, as opposed to giving us a physical cloth fabric piece. This makes no sense considering that LEGO has given us these cloth waist capes in the past for other clone troopers, and a special character like Rex in an expensive UCS set definitely deserved that extra detail. And then we have the issue with the helmet holes. This is a common inaccuracy with the newer modern clone trooper helmets where the placement points for helmet attachments is visibly higher than it should be. However, despite those inaccuracies, I still feel like this is a really satisfying updated Rex minifigure and one that I'm really excited to add to my collection. Along with the display plaque, we also get a small printed brick that celebrates the 20th anniversary of the animated Clone Wars micro series that released back in 2003. And this is just a small commemorative thing that makes the set feel a bit more special. Now let's talk about the cruiser itself, because this thing is absolutely stunning. It's 43 inches long, 12.5 inches tall, and nearly 22 inches wide. Lengthwise, the Venator is identical to the Ultimate Collector Series Star Destroyer, which is also 43 inches long, and overall the 2 sets are very comparable in size. When you step back and look at this Venator on a table, there is no questioning just how cool and imposing this ship looks when it's fully built with all the details and shaping so faithfully recreated from the Clone Wars and Revenge of the Sith. Starting at the top, we have the command bridge with some great looking texture on both sides in both light and dark gray, and a really interesting technique used to create that slope design leading from the towers down to the main body of the ship. I will point out that most Venators you see don't have this dark red coloring for their bridge towers, because that's used to designate the commanding vessel in the fleet, such as Anakin Skywalker's ship, the Resolute, while other cruisers have a light gray color for their bridge towers. Below the bridge, you can see the 8 heavy turbo laser turrets on either side of the ship, and these look great. You can rotate and pose them in all kinds of different ways, but just keep in mind the builds for these are actually pretty fragile, so once you have them locked in the position you want, there's not much reason to mess around with them too much. Towards the middle of the ship, we find 4 large stickered tile pieces, adding some extra detail along with those large Republic symbols, and I'm definitely disappointed that these are stickered as opposed to printed elements. Now, I don't know if this is just my perception, but the gray color on these large stickers doesn't seem to fully match the light bluish gray pieces around it. It's an extremely subtle difference and a nitpick that probably won't bother most people, but it is something that seems noticeable to me. Continuing towards the front of the ship, there's some great subtle angles here that create the shaping on the nose, along with that strong dark red stripe running right down the middle. Now, if you've seen the Clone Wars, you know that the front of the Venator is where the main hangar bay is located, with the top splitting open for gunships and fighters to fly in and out of, and I was really hoping for a similar feature here in this model, but unfortunately, that's not the case. However, you can easily remove this long middle panel along with the ones left and right of the bridge to reveal some of that internal support structure holding the ship together. The sides of the Venator feature some more cannons, fantastic greebling, and these smaller port and starboard hangars, with the starboard hangar being closed off and the port hangar being open, and a 3-piece micro build representing a Republic gunship, which is a really cool detail to get. Moving towards the back side of the ship, we get a look at the 8 rear engines in that stunning gunmetal gray color, contrasting with all of the light gray. This is honestly one of my favorite details of the entire model. Several of the engines are secured to multiple contact points to the main ship because they do jut out very far from the back of the model and need that extra support to prevent future sagging for the pieces. The underside, by comparison, is extremely simple, with plenty of exposed studs and not much detail, but for a display model like this, I think that's a totally fine approach when you're primarily looking at the top and the sides of the ship. We do, however, get a representation of the bottom hangar bay doors underneath and a closer look at those strong support stands that are built into the body of the ship itself. Overall, this is one set that I think LEGO and the design team absolutely knocked out of the park, and I'm so excited that we have our very first Ultimate Collector Series set based on the Clone Wars, which is so amazing, and I really hope it leads to more being made in the future. As for those 2 exclusive minifigs, I feel like, as with most UCS sets, that I'm left wanting more. It would have been great to get more troopers or even a new Jedi, or at least a slightly more accurate Captain Rex would have been great, especially with the set at such a high price point. $650 is a huge price tag, and it's a cost that not every fan or collector will be able to afford for a display model like this. But I will say that for everything you get here, and especially comparing this to the value of other UCS sets like the Star Destroyer or the UCS Razor Crest, that to me, $650 feels like a fair and reasonable value for this model in particular. And I definitely think this is going to be one of the most popular UCS sets of all time. But as always, I'd love to know your impressions of the set and if this is one that you'll be picking up when it releases in October. So feel free to leave a comment down below and let us know what you think. But that's about it for this review. Once again, I'm Adam. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.